Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to get started with our next business session, Transforming Logistics and Customs Operations in a Digital Age. Now, that being said, let me quickly invite our speakers. First up, they often say that to get the right answers, you need to ask the right questions. So to moderate this session, we have with us Mr. Tej, Contractor, ABIT Chair, FIATA. So if I could please invite you to please come on stage so that together we can invite your panelists and your speakers. We have the august presence of Shri Yogendra Garg, DG Systems, Shri Basavaraj Nalegawe, ADG RMT. All right. I've been informed that Shri Basavaraj is not here. We'll, of course, be also flipping the backdrop. We'll be moving to the session, which is, that's right, it's all about the digital age that we are trying to unravel. But on that note, if I could please invite on stage Shri Yogendra Garg, DG Systems. So could we please have your valuable presence on the stage, please? And can we also have a huge round of applause to welcome all our speakers? May I also please invite Shri Nailesh Gandhi, Board of Advisor, BCBA, to please come on stage, sir. Shri Amar, Global Head. All right, I've been told that Shri Amar is on his way, so let me please invite Dr. Joshua Ebenezer, Principal Consultant, NuCov Facili-Trade. Shri S. Ramakrishna, Past Chairman, Federation of Freight Forwarders Association in India. We also have with us Shri Nailesh Pandey, so we'd like to welcome you, sir, to the Conclave. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you very much, sir. So before we deep dive into the panel discussion, to set the tone, first up, if I could please invite on stage Mr. Hiren Ruparal, Vice President BCBA, to please share your thoughts around this very interesting topic and interesting session for us. And that is before we get to hear from our panelists. Over to you, sir.
Welcome, friends. It's a big day for BCBA. We have a dynamic DG Systems over here, Mr. Yogendra Garg. We have high hopes, always, from him, always. Viksit Bharat, 2047. All BCBA, all the members, custom brokers, expect only one thing: faster clearance, and faster clearance. But this is only possible because unless and until we don't adopt digitalization. We started with single window in 2014. We started with e-Sanchet. We started with online registrations. The latest was online amendments and ECL ledgers. Digitalization is going to reduce our dwell time, the faster clearances. Friends, I would request my colleague, Mr. Tej, Contractor, to please come on and add something more on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hiren, for the theme introduction to the session. A very good afternoon to everybody. So the post-lunch session is actually a secret weapon. I'm sure all of you want to sneak in a nap, but our impressive lineup of speakers that we have will not only keep you awake, but will make a productive afternoon for you to take home. Just to double check if all of y'all are still with us, we'll start with a quiz. Anyone who can answer this will get a special prize. Okay. We all talk about technology and how it will replace us. Can someone tell all of us here why AI will never replace logisticians completely? Just raise your hand and say it out loud. Why AI will never replace logisticians completely? We are a room full of logisticians here.
Because AI needs to be given the command of information.
Correct? AI.
And then only it can be taken care of.
True. AI needs to be told. Anyone else? Please.
I'm good at Jugaad.
You're good. That's a great one. I'm good at Jugaad. Yes, yes.
AI only works on historic information. Logistics is all about new complexities, which only HI can take care of.
That's an amazing perspective. AI works only on historic information, but effectively logistics is all about human intelligence. Anyone? Okay, in the interest of time, I will share the real answer because AI will never accept your debit note. So now that we know that all of you all are awake, each of you will resonate what we have to say. Thank you for being here for this session. A majority of us live in a world where we race from beginning to end every day, leaving very little time reflecting what lies ahead. We are indeed a privileged generation. We have seen a digital transformation from paper to paperless, from the driver to driverless, from the phone to the mobile. The number of inventions that all of us in this room have seen in the last 20 years is what our forefathers did not see for centuries. We are at a place where we see adaptation in digitalization at scale. So at the end of this session, we would like to leave you all digitally charged. India has always been a gem, but in recent years, we have truly begun to realize its potential. We have been privileged to witness India's journey of transformation from an era to control and to facilitation, what we heard earlier in the session. Today, we gather here for this historic conclave held by BCBA under the leadership of our President, Shri Mulani. We are at a cusp of a new era with Amrit Kale, Vision 2047, and the National Logistics Policy led by our Honorable Prime Minister. What is so significant about Amrit Kale 2047? Some of you in this room may ask. The focus on expansion of port infrastructure. We just heard this morning about Mundra port expanding, Vadwan getting clearances. The focus on expansion on port infrastructure is to create 6 large ports with capacities of over 300 to 500 million tons per year. This development not only prioritizes stability, but also environmental concerns, guaranteeing that our growth is both responsible and environmentally friendly. A little bit what Captain Tiwari spoke about in the last session. Furthermore, the vision emphasizes technological advancements, which will not only strengthen our global connections, but also our position in India as a digital age of logistics, which is what this panel here is going to talk about. Equally crucial is the recognition and the need of a skilled workforce to cater to the evolving demands of the maritime sector. As custom brokers, we play a pivotal role in implementing the vision by ensuring seamless trade facilitation and compliance with regulations. We have seen our nation evolve into a global powerhouse in the logistics and maritime sector. COVID changed our mindset, accelerated digitalization in each of our companies. Digitalization is not just implementing technology in our company. As in our earlier discussion, one of our panelists says, and I borrow it from you, Nailesh bhai, it's changed from the office boy to the managing director who needs to rethink the way we work digitally. We are in an era where new technologies are emerging every day, and eventually it is going to impact our working environment. Whether it is a customs broker, whether it is a customer, whether it is customs, whether it is a carrier and other stakeholders involved in trade. It is our goal to introduce you to what you can do today to make our future digital proof. This conclave is historic, not only because it's being held in an iconic venue, but it also marks a significant milestone in our journey towards realizing Amrit Kal, Vision 2047. Let us reaffirm our commitment to driving the Indian logistics sector to new heights. We are fortunate today to have a diverse panel of speakers, each offering unique insights from various sectors, including the government, trade associations, a custom broker's perspective, a software company, and a custom specialist. Together, they will shed light on both current trends and needs and the future prospects in our industry. I'm sure that you are now eager to hear all the speakers, so we will start with our first speaker, Shri Yogendra Garg from DG Systems. Sir, over to you.
Good afternoon. In fact, when we talk about logistics and faster clearances, so my experience in the last 34 years now has been that customs is the biggest punching bag. In fact, whenever I don't get call from Mr. Dushyant Malani or people from this thing, that gives me a feeling things are working fine, because from systems, I'm really remembered very, very frequently if there is a disruption. Yes, that is how actually digital environment should be. We have become used to working so much digitally over the last 10 years that we really expect that gold standard in all operations. But let me take you back a little bit in history. In fact, Customs was the second big government organization going digital, adopting automation after Railways. Railways was the first one to start automation of the operations. But we went digital in bits and pieces. And when we talk about Viksit Bharat 2047, Vision 2047, if I tell you what is the customs vision for 2047 given by the Honorable PM is that the customs clearances should happen in under 1 hour. So under 1 hour means that I should not be only looking at working on computers. So digitalization of operations doesn't actually mean only using computers. The way we think and the way we do things, we should be able to look through that, probably evolve new ways of working. So I can give you an example. Since we started, as I was talking just before I entered the conference, that how the whole process started and why do we see so many gaps. Because in 95, when we started on the go. The system was developed as we were working. And from wherever each system evolved, we still have relics of that thinking and those processes even now. Like even today, the customs system is broken up into ports. Even though today's digital world allows you to work from anywhere to anywhere, I still have the ports system. The officers stationed, located at that port only can work on those systems. So as we move forward and if we are to really cover that long way of reaching customs at one, then only our vision of the Viksit Bharat is going to come true. And let me share, we are doing a lot of things to be there, to reach there. So one thought which is prevailing and which is taking shape now is that probably the whole process has to be rediscovered. So why not make one customs integrated system? Because we keep talking about the ICS and IceGate, we keep talking about ECCS, we keep talking about postal imports, and then there are differences in imports and exports. So depending on what process, what port, and then there are local practices, and then we have the risk management. And each one of these systems are talking to each other through a digital mode, which at times leads to delays. So our thinking from the systems directorate was that time has come to probably look at things afresh. Also question the ways in which we have divided ourselves on port basis, on location basis, on mode basis. So this customs integrated system, which we are calling as CIS to begin with, for want of other name, and I'm sure as we go along, probably it will take a new avatar or a new nomenclature. It is looking at an end-to-end automation of the entire customs transactions, having connections or having layers of maybe whatever is to be connected. So whether it is port community, whether it is the PGA world, and whatever else one can think of. Now, that is not a system which is going to happen in one day. That is a system which is going to, as we go along. So my ICE gate, current ICE gate is going to work as the core, and there we are building. So some of the things we are already bringing up. So the exchange rate automation is something which is getting rolled out on from 4th of July. The drawback, being the manual process, has been taken away last month. The adjudication and refunds are something which is in the pipeline. But if you look at the big ticket items, which will feed this customs integrated system and which will help in a long way in reducing this time. And I am only looking at customs at once. If customs clearance has to happen in 1 hour, then the probably transaction-wise clearances have to give way to vessel-wise or carrier-wise clearances. And what do we need for that? So whatever are the barriers there. So we're building a system now that today's single window, frankly, has a lot of doors inside that single window. So what we are looking at is that I provide one unified application on which every importer, exporter, every stakeholder comes only on that platform to apply as a part of unified declaration, and respective PGAs, respective agencies, including DGFT, pick up their requisite data sets from there only. And whosoever has an IT system, they take that data there, they take those documents there, work on it, and give me the output. But that output will get populated both for the officers and for the applicant on a dashboard on that system itself, which we're calling as unified dashboard. So whatever LPCOs or whatever NOCs get issued to each one would be available in that dashboard, single dashboard, so that you can fetch it, system can fetch it, and that we are not running around places and we are not running around giving physical document copies, etc. The whole focus is on reducing that physical interface. And a lot of this development has taken place. So we are quite close to the solution, but let's see how this comes. And that would also take away the piecemeal queries from the customs and from PGAs is something which we are though we have come a long way since we started, but that is something which we are currently working on. We also want to propose to make things mode neutral. Today I have different kind of benefits available if I go through regular cargo, I go through courier, I go through postal. If I do e-commerce through postal, I don't get any benefit. If I go through courier, I get only IGST refund. And if I take the cargo through those same export shipments through air cargo, I get all the benefits. So that is something which is going to be a history soon. In fact, hopefully by August 10th. It's a part of unification is part of our 100-day deliveries which we have promised to the government. But what is a larger thing? What is a larger thing is that can we look like in your books, like in any importer-exporter books, every import-export is just a supply. Irrespective of which port you are going from, you are getting a supply, you are making a payment, and that is where it resides. But today's world, whenever I have to do anything relating to that, pre-clearance, post-clearance, I have to run around that port only. There is still a physical aspect. Though we have NSEs and though we have FAGs, but still I keep running around that physical place. And that brings a lot of pressure on the trade. So in a digital connected world, why should those port distances be hampering? So what we're looking at is that can we clear the facilitated cargo where there is no assessment, no examination, which goes seamlessly and rests. And can I make the post-clearance operations happening at NSEs, or can I be looking at home ports? So that's an idea that we are struggling with, and that is something where we would like to connect with you as to what is the best way forward. The whole idea is that while you keep your right to check and collect duties, to be providing a correct actual border control, but at the same time, not waste each other's time. And that is a flap we need to take away. In the going forward in the customs integrated system, the RMS is going to be a part of it. So there'll be no time wasted in sending data to RMS, receiving instructions and outcome from RMS. And the facilitation levels to be the promised facilitation levels of 90% plus. And maybe as we grow closer to 2047, the facilitation levels probably will have to be 99% plus. And with an emphasis on the post-clearance aspects and not the pre-clearance checks and examinations. But what do we need? What do we need for that? We need an ecosystem and environment where we have a trust amongst each other. There's a huge trust deficit, and that is that trust deficit which takes away the force out of all these new initiatives. The minute something wrong happens at one port, one particular entity, the whole process goes back by 2 to 3 years. And it takes a long time, and while you might not have seen it so much in customs, but those of you who are familiar with GST, why I'm talking of GST is because it's just 7 years old. It's 1st July will complete 7 years. But we have seen it coming. We started on a trust regime in 1st July 17. And since then, we have built so many roadblocks and speed breakers that now they say it is no longer good and simple. We are now again striving to make it good and simple. So my request to all of you stakeholders, and all of you play a major role in that. Because while we are committed that, yes, we need to use new technologies and new way of working, so the thinking itself becoming digital, because it is not workflow automation which we are looking at by digitalization. So far, we have been doing the workflow automation as it was happening in a manual mode, similar way of working in a electronic mode. We are looking at ways of doing things also digitally. That my ports are connected, my databases are connected, my information is connected. So why should I be asking you for everything? The whole idea is that there is no interface required, and whatever I require can happen on a remote basis. Going forward, in fact, the first thing which may happen very soon is we are working on as to what all customs processes can be actually made to happen without locking the machines to the location, without locking the machines to that they have to work from office. Not every operation. You will soon find the examination and examination reports being done in almost real-time basis, because we're going to make it mandatory, and that is an announcement which will come soon, that they start using the ice tabs. The work is going on that, along with some proof of that examination, some photos to get uploaded on a real-time basis so that we know this is the examination which happened, this is the examination report. So those delays and things could be a thing of the past. In terms of when I look at making it location neutral, we have to take care of the security aspects. So far we had been using this as security, that I will not allow officers to work between this time to this time, or I will allow officers to work only during these hours. I will allow officers to work on these machines only from these locations, so they were locked. So there we are using the new technologies. There's a technology called zero tolerance, where I secure my data center, but I don't make my machines heavier. So by not deploying too many agents on my machines, the operations will become faster. For the customs officer to work from their own locations also, things will become faster. We're also planning to use the blockchain technology in a big way to map all the transactions seamlessly and transparently, irrespective of the port locations, so that I can build a ledger of each importer, exporter, and there you work on that. So instead of having to run around to fetch documents, find copies of bills of entry, shipping bills, linked documents, agencies asking for those documents, those are going to be soon things of the past. I hope give us about 6 months to a year, and most of these things will become available. On the intervention side, the AI has come as a big tool, and as the moderator started this session, he talked about AI a bit to have a quiz around AI. But AI is a tool which needs to be trained. So AI is a tool if used well. It's like any other technology product, and it can really give you very, very disrupting results if it is not used well. So AI and machine learning is something on which our risk management division is working in a big way. In the data analytics, we are using in a big way. And the whole idea is that instead of looking at 20% odd cargo physically or intervening physically, can I do my risk management based on these learnings? The Internet of Things will also will get introduced as part of CIS, which is going to take you to real-time tracking of goods and containers, and maybe a boon for all the logistics world. The most important aspect where we will need your support for building is that we are looking at today. We are all familiar with authorized economic operators. We are the SAFE framework, but SAFE framework is something which is never adopted in its true sense. So we're looking at, can we have a larger SAFE framework? Can I say that this AEO and all his suppliers and all his buyers are all a part of one network? Can I declare a safe network so that I don't have to look through that? Can we be looking at registering these suppliers so that I can say, okay, he is an accredited supplier, and therefore when supplies happen between these two, I don't need to look at it beyond a point. So I'm saying, going forward, let's not look at these compliance requirements as burdensome. Some of these compliance requirements are being built to make the whole system much faster and to reach our goal of providing you customs clearances in 1 hour. A lot of effort is being made on actually also training the officers, because one big boon is that howsoever smart a machine may be, if the person behind that machine is not trained well or not as smart or doesn't know how to use it, the stated objectives are not realized. And all of us have seen that. Because if you start learning on the job, then that can cause real disruption. And the expectations are not met. So that is something which we are focusing on. We have built a state-of-the-art training academy in Palasamudram, over 500 acres. The latest technologies are being used, and even for the local officers, we are taking them through the modern techniques, the virtual reality machines and the appliances, so that without a disruptive manner, they are trained well before they come. In fact, our cutting edge level, which is the POs and inspectors, we are looking at whether we can increase their training period from 14 weeks to 6 months, 8 months, so that they work well. But on the whole, all these initiatives are to help the entire industry and the logistics world, that you don't take time in customs. And I'll be really happy and will be waiting for the day where the delays are not put on the account of customs. This is a story, in fact, 2000 to 2007, I used to be in commerce. And this is something on that side I would always hear whenever anything stopped, whenever anything didn't happen, that it's because of the customs objections that this is not happening. So I really hope that all these new initiatives take us there, and customs doesn't become a disruptor of the business. It becomes a facilitator in true sense, and seamlessly using the technology, we are able to do what we want to do without actually causing a physical intervention. So I'll be looking forward to suggestions, support, and as we go forward in this initiative of customs integrated system, I'll be looking for suggestions because you are the guys, you are the practicing guys, and I know only as much I know sitting in my office and interactions through you. So I'll be very thankful for your suggestions in this regard. So I'll stop here. Let's hear the other panelists, and I'll be happy to take questions. We have a huge lineup which is happening till 15th September, which is in the first 100 days, and you'll keep hearing about it. So I'll not be spelling out all those initiatives which have been taken, but be assured that the customs is going to be a non-visible system if everything goes well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the amazing speech. 1 hour clearance is what you have echoed, and that is something that we expect. We are seeing the initiatives taken by the department, as sir just said, in using various technologies, futuristic technologies. Sir, one thing I apologize, I did not give you due justice to your introduction, so please allow me to do that now. Mr. Garg is the Principal Director General of Systems and Data Management, CBIC. He's a 1990 batch of IRS. Digi Systems, for those of you who do not know, caters to all IT requirements, hardware and software for the CBIC. Sir is an alumnus of Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh from 1984 to 88. And I am Bangalore from 1988 to 1990. He started his career from Ratnagiri in the anti-smuggling formation and has held many posts for the last 32 years. Amongst those, the notable are Assistant Director, DRI, Ahmedabad, Development Commissioner, Kandla, SEZ, Director, SEZ, Department, Ministry of Commerce, Director General, Services Export Promotion Council, Director, Tax Research Unit, Commissioner, Customs, Mumbai, Commissioner, Central Excise at Faridabad and Gurgaon, Commissioner, Tax Policy and Research Unit, Department of Revenue, Principal Commissioner, GST Policy Wing, CBIC, Principal ADG, Center of Excellence, New Delhi, and Chief Commissioner, CGST and Customs Northeast Zone, Guwahati. He spent long years in policy formulation and in the Department of Commerce, the SEZ policy, the MDA scheme, the MAI scheme, all of what we use today. In Department of Revenue, GST. I'm also pleased to share, he was conferred with the Presidential Award for Meritorious Service on Republic Day in 2018. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Moving further, I'd like to request Shri Rama sir, who's the past chairman of FIATA, to share his words on the topic. Rama sir. Oh, you can speak from there.
Thank you so much, sir. In fact, you have spoken 50% of what I wanted. So you have made my life easier. Thank you so much. Sir, as a national association, what we want from the systems is the topic which has been given to me. So, you had talked about the customs integrated systems. That was one aspect which we discussed earlier also. But in that customs integrated system, what we as a federation are looking for is giving the APIs and JSON services, which is not there in the IceGate system. The way it is there in the GST, if we get that, there will be more number of players who will be utilizing this, and effectively there will be, the things will be much improved in a very systematic manner. This is the first requirement to. Thank you so much, sir. We are very glad to hear that it will be paperless in next 6 to 8 months. That's really good for us. As a federation, we are also talking to ULIP for developing the KYC norms. You would agree with us, sir, or the maximum number of problems which comes in any form is on the KYC documentation. So what the federation is looking for is that we are already talking, and Amar is also a part of it, who is trying to implement that project, is with the help of ULIP, we are creating the complete data, as you are saying about the suppliers and the importers, the suppliers as well as the imports and exports, the complete data, all those data will be in that platform, including of the custom brokers, shipping companies, anybody and everybody who are in the exempt trade, which is going to be very helpful. And as a matter of fact, what we are looking for is that as a federation, we will be taking all the data, and from the back end, it will be authenticated. That authenticated data will be given to anybody and everybody wants. For example, the airlines wants a KYC from us as a custom broker or as an exporter, or they want to identify as a regular exporter. Then the data what we have accumulated, we will be giving a unique ID of that. All they need to do is to come into our system of the federation and ask for that unique identity which has been given by the broker or the exporter or importer. All they need to put it there, and the entire data in a physical form which can reach them digitally, of course, which will be very helpful. This also helps us as a custom broker in case of, you will find many of the show cause notices on the KYC only. So that itself will prove that we have done the due diligence. That will also take it to a next level of the location and the access thereof. So this is one thing which we want to do it, and we want actual support from the DG system that these data, somewhere if we can put it onto the documentation itself, will show that the KYC has been done for that. Number two is, this is a very interesting thing for our moderator, Tej, single sign-on. So the single sign-on is one aspect which will actually help us in digitalization of the entire documentation. We can pick up the documentation. It is a question of registration to a platform and authenticating the registrant by that platform owner to say that yes, they are the single sign-on, which we can really sign plenty of documents in a stroke, which can be at various locations of various software providers. If we can really do on that, then today we have only 5 documents can be digitally signed, and every document need to be digitally signed. As a matter of fact, as a custom broker, I would want every importer and exporter to digitally sign their document and give it to me, instead of my signing their document digitally and sending it to the customs. So this would be another aspect which we can develop on it, sir. In next 6-7 months, we can really think about it. Then there are a lot of collaborative platforms are required. Today, when you are talking about the blockchain technology, sir, honestly, if the customs are wanting to create a blockchain technology right from zero to end, then it is very helpful. The logistic provider, say for example, the shipping companies or airlines, they are looking for a physical document to be given to them. When we were looking for a physical document to be given to them, they can always pick it up from the blockchain. If that kind of an environment comes, it will be very good for us, sir. If you can include this also into the blockchain. Last one request, it might be very small, but it is very helpful when you have to do 1 hour clearance. Dual screen for all your officers who are clearing the cargo, who are physically clearing the cargo. Today, with one screen, they have to see the e-Sanchi document, they have to shut it down, they have to open the document which need to be apprised. If you really give them dual screen, and one screen if they are able to see the e-Sanchi document, and the other screen if they can assess it, that will be a great help, and it will be time saving also. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rama sir, for keeping it crisp. In the interest of time, I will conclude everyone's speech together. I would now request Shri Nailesh Gandhi ji to share a few words on the subject. Just to give Nailesh Bhai his introduction, he's a board of advisor of BCBA and a past president and director of EXG Group. Nailesh Bhai, over to you.
Good afternoon, senior officials, trading partners, ladies and gentlemen. I thank Dushyant Mulani, our president, and the team for having this conclave. Customs and customers have always asked to shrink time. Today, Tejas told me to shrink the time from 6 minutes to 2 minutes. So I'll try and see how fast I can close this. So I'll keep it simple. We are businessmen. Our job is to run the business. Our job is to grow the business. Our job is to make profits, look after customers. But the most important part also is to see that we give value to our shareholders, and that's possible only if we ensure that the organization can be there for a longer period. Which means that we have to do everything to see that our own organization can be passed on to the next generation. In few years back, we in our industry used to say that the minute I open my office, till I shut my office, all operations should be automated. I think that's completely outdated now. If we need to digitize, we need to automate every aspect, every transaction, every step that we do in our day-to-day working. And like Tej shared, I would call a family member or employee of yours, like runner boy to your managing director, your trading partners, your connect partners, need to be part of the journey of digitization and automation. So, we as customers agent, as businessmen, need to ensure that we take this particular requirement very seriously. We need to have a 360-degree outlook on this. We need to embrace technology, and we need to have a culture of bringing in new tools and apps to run our organization. But why I'm stressing on this is we are in a service industry. We are in people's business. We have two baskets. One is the business side of our organization, which is customer facing, which is operations, sales, and so on and so forth. And the second is the service side, the support service side, which is IT to start with, HR, payroll, they're two different things, your finance, legal, admin, so on and so forth. So when we run our organization, we have to see that automation and digitization is happening across board. It cannot be only for a bill of entry or a shipping bill, what we say. It has to be across board. Every employee has to be a part of this journey. And that's what we have to do as businessmen. Then only we are going to survive. So if we, to achieve this, we have to, I don't, it's not expensive or there's no huge investment requirement to achieve this goal. All you have to do is, yes, the huge investment is time and commitment. Your investment is to ensure that you create a culture of automation. Servers making notes simultaneously on his mobile. That's what we need to be. We have to be on it. That second, we have to finish the job. And that's possible only if we digitize everything. And the investment is like, we have to build a culture that every day we are going to promote automation, re-engineer our process, find what is manual, how are we going to digitize it. And today, you don't need to buy expensive software. You don't need to buy expensive hardware. Everything is a SaaS model. You can have it based on time or on transaction. So on an annualized basis or on a monthly basis, you know what your cost is. So have that cost as part of your budget, but your culture should be that every day we are going to discuss automation. And you need to create captains, you need to create champions within your organization to ensure that everybody, and I say everybody means up to the MD, is going to eat, breathe, think, sleep, automation. That's the only way you are going to be available for this new India. So start small, have small wins, but what's important is to start and to move forward. So please, like I said, digitization and automation is the only way you'll be able to pass on your business to the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nailesh bhai, for the interesting perspective. Next, I would like to request Shri Amar, who's the Global Head of Kale Logistic Solution, to give a software's perspective of the topic.
Thank you, Tej. It's so good to be back here. And before I start speaking, I just want all of you to give a big round of applause to yourself, and then I'll tell you why. Please. And I'm not cheating. It was not to get attention to what I'm speaking, but, I head the cross-border management domain at the United Nations, CEFAC, and United Nations has given a framework. Trade facilitation, bada word hai, but what is trade facilitation? How do we make cargo move faster, okay? And for that, they say that first step is paperless customs. I think Sir and the Indian customs has done phenomenal job there. Second step is to do a single window, a regulatory single window, get all the PGS around the customs system. India has done a phenomenal job there too. Third stage is to develop communities around ports and airports. We have done that too very effectively, and very functional cargo communities at our airports and ports. Fourth stage is to get banks and insurance companies involved, because these are different stakeholders involved. And the last stage is to connect, one country to other. And, Manoj is here. So we did a pilot connecting India to Netherlands. So this big round of applause was that India and Netherlands are the only two countries in the world that actually have achieved something in each of these 5 stages. So, we are very self-critical about ourselves, but I think as a community, whether it is BCBA, Akai, who had the vision of, starting such EDI platforms, triple FAI, everybody, the entire community has done a phenomenal job there, right? So, what stops from goods moving faster? That's what trade facilitation is all about, right? And that's where technology comes in. So there are 4 reasons. We work with these logistics communities across 38 countries in the world. And I'll tell you there are 4 core reasons. Most trucks come to the airport and port around the same time. So, आप दोपहर को 2 से 4 के बीच में जाओगे तो आपको congestion मिलेगा हर एक जगह पे, because that's what happens. Second reason, there is a lot of paperwork that happens at the airport, port, land port, whatever it is, right? And when there is paperwork, trucks are waiting, cargo is waiting. Reason number 3, most handlers at the airports and ports, they know how much tonnage is going to come. But between 12 o'clock and 1:30, how many trucks are going to come, what are they going to bring? And in the absence of that knowledge, they can't plan their operation better. Truck lagne ke baad hi, they have to find resources to do this. And 4th reason is trucks for whom cargo is not even ready, they just line up and increase the queue. And that slows down cargo movement. And that is something that can be addressed through technology. It has been addressed very successfully in India. Aisa nahi hai ki we have reached the skies. We still have a long way to go. And during the question answer session, I'll talk about that because I think the time is very limited. What is it that Indian community can do further? But these are very critical steps in, any digitization of trade that we are talking about, okay? Now, just the impact, and I'll ask this question very quickly. An average air cargo shipment, how many copies of paper are generated behind that? Any guess? चाय कॉफी सबको मिलेगा, गलत आंसर रहेगा तो भी. Any guess? You do all the documentation. Come on, you should be able to tell. No. 32 is the types of documents, sir. 124 copies of paper get generated on an average. International statistics. Maritime, 200 plus copies of paper. And what is there on each of these copies? The same information. माल किसका है, किधर जा रहा है, कैसे जा रहा है, कितने का है, what are the dimensions, right? And only 25% of this paper is required for regulatory purposes. That also is going away. So I'll just give you one example. If you're talking about a 1 million ton cargo airport, 100 copies of paper, 1 million matlab 10 lakh, 100 copies matlab we are talking about 100 crores copies of paper on an annual basis, and that is equal to 10,000 fully grown trees. एक ट्रक अगर 2 घंटा लाइन में खड़ा रहता है और चालू है, then we are talking about 9,000 grams of CO2 being emitted. Okay, and when you multiply that by 1,500 trucks into 300 days, how many billions of grams of carbon dioxide is getting emitted. So if you use technology effectively, not only can you do your business better, but you can actually make trade move faster and more sustainable. So Tej bhai, I'll stop here and then I can answer the questions whenever.
Thank you very much, Amar. Next, I would like to request Shri Joshua Ebenezer to please share a few words. Just to tell you, Joshua is a principal consultant. He was earlier the director of consulting in LKS. Now he runs his own consulting firm. Over to you, Joshua.
Thank you. Thank you, respected sir, and beautiful perspective. My wonderful audience. Always this happens in the second half, time crunch is a concern. So we wanted to talk about 3 or 4 points, but we are narrowing down because of paucity of time. Fine. We live in interesting time, not because of GST, because of July 1st, we are going to get 3 new laws going to come into play. The lawyers are busy, courts are busy, law students are busy. Until now, they are seasoned with the traditional laws. The new law, what is going to come? आने के बाद देख सकते हैं. The same way, we also have digital. Digital is a word which is digitization and digital that we are talking very frequently. Everything is, 2047 that Captain Deepak Tiwari this morning, he was mentioning, we need to be carbon neutral in 2050. And 2047 CBIC vision is 1 hour clearance. Keeping mission statements are perfect. Let's take carbon neutral. Is it possible? 50% of our mechanical operation needs to be converted to achieve this. In terms of data, day in and day out, applications are coming, technologies are coming. But if I need to narrow down my discussion into one single point, because it is BCBA conference, and the people who are seated over here, predominantly customs brokers. The importers and exporters community, they are trusting you and handing over a lot of information to you to process it. TFA had a very clear roadmap which says, before clearance, use Article 3 and 4, that is advanced ruling and appellate advanced ruling. During the clearance, use Article 7.7, that is what Sir has mentioned, AEO. Post-clearance, use Article 7.5, that is post-clearance audit. So map is laid down very clear through TFA. CBIC vision for 2030, 2040, 2047, very clear with action plan. Ultimately, they wanted to move into post-clearance, non-intrusive technology, 1 hour clearance, green customs, everything is fine. But here the crux is, I as a customs broker receive documents from my importers and exporters. The only thing that I do is signing KYC document to comply with 2010 circular. Some MNC companies insist on signing an NDA. But these datas which you file it is going to customs through a third party. When I offer a support to my customer as a consultant, I am using a third party. The importers are resisting. No, you are not authorized to use a third party software. But on the other hand, 1.5 lakhs exporters and importers in this country are using predominantly a third party software. Data are getting leaked. Now DPDP has come into play. DPDP Act 2023 is passed in both the houses and ready, not yet implemented. The rules are awaited. That is to do with personal data. Now you may say, what does that has to do with me? Because personal preferences is what motivating importers and exporters to create products. Manufacturers are creating products. There is a corporate data, there is a personal data. Now, as an importer and exporter, I trust the customs broker and I hand over the data to you. You sign an NDA and you forward the data using a third-party application and you upload it to customs. Today, I don't want to name, there are companies who are selling data of yesterday evening information to you with all the details. Whatever the Amar has mentioned, all those details are available in the internet. So where is the data is getting leaked and how this will impact the community back? Till date, there is no accountability factor. The law has come in. Now, GDPR, we are aligning with it. If you take about personal data, we have right to erasure. This was incorporated in our act. What does it mean? Anyone can write back to any service provider and say, you erase my data. Then you are obligated to erase the data and to confirm it back. Of course, it is contradicting with Article 21, but still this is in force. And we are aligned with GDPR data. Now, coming back to our record-keeping system and checklist approval process, what every custom brokers are doing, we never bothered about what NDA that we sign with importers and exporters. Tomorrow, if Apple, Microsoft, if they come to know that my data is transferred to a third party, do we also get the same accountability, same kind of a document from a third party, we get a signature from them? We don't do it. We don't even ask for it because we are obligated to use such services. Take, for example, a record-keeping company who scans all the documents. All what we want is to keep the document in electronic media. But what the record-keeping company is doing, are you aware about it? How they are reading with the OCR all the documents and creating algorithms using that? We are not aware. Data are getting leaked. So, in order to curtail these kind of things, if you say that I am closing the front door, I am closing the window, but I am not closing the back door, it is not acceptable. So, as brokers, if you sign an NDA with your importers and exporters, that same NDA, you need to sign it with all your vendors as well. Why do I say that? Today in this country, we do not have sufficient T3 operators in AEO. Only when you exercise T3, there is a compulsory demand called business partner security. That business partner security in AEO is applicable for T3. We call T3 as the fullest AEO, right? There, the importers supposed to have this clause to come and audit you in terms of the process, how the data are flowing. So today we achieve digital transmissions. Today we achieve a lot of things. We use a lot of applications. But if we are not careful about this particular aspect, probably there is a huge implication for us. So what implication? Is there a law in India which governs that? Absolutely. Contract obligation is that we are breaching the contract. I trust as an importer, I give data to you. You supposed to use this data for the intended purpose. If that data is used for anything else, then it is breach of contract. Now, who will be held accountable? None of the platform providers will be held accountable except the one who receives and signs. Who is that one? Is the customs broker. So it's time for us to think about that aspect. And while the technology is upgrading, while the systems are moving faster in compliance with TFA, when the government is moving this side, it is equally important for us also to know the laws and then to implement changes in our process to achieve this 1 hour clearances. I would like to stop here and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Joshua, to give us a very interesting perspective on DPDP. Before we conclude, in the interest of time, we will take one question from the audience. Anyone who has or would like to ask a question to the panelists, please raise your hands. Can we get a mic to the gentleman over there, please?
Mr. Garg, welcome to the BCHA community. Good afternoon. You have mentioned certain changes in the current situation of FAG and PAG for assessment of goods. Can you highlight more on the subject? This happens to be a burning issue currently. Thank you.
May I request if this can be kept to a technology question? We can take that question offline if it's okay, sir.
Currently, a lot of such issues of wrong assessments by FAG and refusal of PAG to recall these bills of entries is delaying clearance beyond limit. 14 days period is lost in the process.
So, Rajesh bhai, can we take that question? It's a matter related to clearance and not technology. So, can we take that offline? We'll take that after the session.
Done.
Thank you,
done,
sir.
Done.
Can we have a question related to technology, please, on the topics that were discussed? Can we have the mic to Mr. Sinha, please? Dr. Sinha, sorry. Please request you to introduce yourself, and if the question is directed to a panelist, please request you to state the name. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, I am Dipankar Sinha. I am professor in Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. I have one question to Mr. Garg, that with regard to contactless system, once a reply has been received in a faceless contactless system and the reply does not suit the recipient, can there be a facility of virtual assistance? That means the recipient can raise questions and it can be answered by the customs officer without disclosing the entities, the whereabouts or the designation, for whatever purpose. Because once the questions are raised and thereafter the recipients may not have any clue that what to answer, how to go about, whom to approach, and can this virtual assistant system be introduced along with faceless? Thank you.
Sir, can we keep the questions related to technology and digitalization?
Yeah, this is about the this is a chatbot system, that this is a technology related only. This can be a chatbot or a similar virtual assistant system.
Thank you for the suggestion. This is in fact a good way. We have been looking at the means. So you give us a way forward. So as we build the new system, we'll take this on board.
Thank you.
We'll have one last question from Mark, sir.
Sir, good evening. Great to have you back in Mumbai. Thank you for honoring BCBA. Sir, my name is Mark Fernandez. Recently in Mumbai and Navasheva, we inaugurated the body cam, where officers who examine, they can be recorded what they're seeing. So there is no problem of change of cargo, which is a great benefit, a great initiative. So we have been requesting to save time, In all the CFSs, the officers go on a round. Then they come back to the computer and then they give out of charge. We lose 4 hours. 3 years ago, I'm told there's already an order. There are already standing orders and public notice that iPad, a notepad, the officer has it, goes to the cargo and releases it. There and there it is released. But it's not being implemented. Sir, since you are the head, I request, please get it implemented. It will save pollution. My trucks will move faster. My boys will go home at night, not at midnight, but by 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. In fact, as mentioned briefly, this is something, so we have given them much improved ice tabs and it's double the number now. The formal launch would happen soon, and one of the things there is that examination is going to be the first thing to happen on those ice tabs, and second is the out of charge, which you're saying. So I'll tell you the basic problem. The basic problem has been that our tendency or the hype on security was so high that I wanted to tie my machines to a location and I didn't want to give that flexibility. So even the ice tabs which were given had some challenges in using. So I'll not blame entirely the officers for doing it. There have been reasons. So wait, I think it's within July, this is something which will happen.
Thank you very much, sir. So we'll take any questions offline due to paucity of time. Just to conclude, so I recently visited Georgia, and what sir has been talking about 1 hour clearance. Let me share. I met with the like how we have FIATA, I met with the Georgian Association, and they said, we are going to have a big breakthrough in technology next year. That is 2024. I met him in December 23. He said custom brokers will be allowed to file documents electronically. We achieved that 20 years ago. With the amount of progress that India has made in the trade facilitation agreement, with the digitalization, with IceGate and ICES, we have achieved much more than other administrations, including single window. So we should really thank sir and what every administration has done in order to make our customs effortless. I'm a 4th generation custom broker. I come from a time we've seen paper, typing bills of entries on the A3 paper, and today in seconds we see documents getting assessed. Thank you, sir. And sir has given a commitment that even though we are so far ahead, we continue to strive to go further. This is what the department is made of. Rama sir has given a very interesting perspective on single sign-on. Just to share with you, and sir, today one of the biggest challenges in blockchain is going to be who is going to identify whether that entity is a valid entity or not. FIATA was the first, not only in India, but around the world, to have a single sign-on project. So every member of FIATA, every member of BCBA has a single sign-on. Using that single sign-on, as long as any technology connects with us, the BCBA or the FIATA login will work as a handshake into that software. One very popular solution which is already implemented is the electronic bill of lading that Shankar Bhai has shared in the previous session. Amar, you have given a very interesting perspective about the way or the value digitalization gives to sustainability. He actually took data and converted into what we understand. We all know that climate change is something that is, a reality. But Amar, thank you very much for putting it in perspective. Joshua, a very, very interesting perspective on data security. Friends, what Joshua sir has mentioned is a very important aspect. Today, we are going digital in a much larger way. Data security and concerns will remain. Please take an idea on that and take it further. Nailesh bhai, I just want to quote what you had to say, and this is a takeaway for every one of us. Technology isn't expensive. It's creating a culture for change. Please remember, technology is not expensive. It is about using the right technology and fit for your own organization. Going digital does not mean you automate everything. You automate parts which have inefficiencies, and it will help you reduce your cost by over 30 to 40%. Thank you very much to all the panelists. You have been fantastic. Thank you to the audience, and looking forward to seeing you all soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If I could request our speakers to please remain on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, after that holistic discussion, first up, to felicitate our speakers, first up, may I please invite Mr. Dushyant Mulani to please felicitate Shri Yogendra Garg for his valuable presence with us this evening. So I'm going to request you to please come on stage. May I also please invite Mr. Nirav Thakur to please come on stage. May I now request Mr. Hiren Ruparal to please felicitate Shri Nailesh Gandhi. Nailesh sir, we also have a plant that symbolizes and signifies the green revolution that we'd like to present to you, sir. I'd now like to please invite Mr. Paresh Sangani to please come on stage to felicitate Shri Amar More. My apologies to Shri Amar More. Yes, sir. Let me please invite you on stage. I'd now like to also please invite Ganpat sir and Ketan Desai to please come on stage to felicitate Dr. Joshua Ebenezer. May I now please invite Mr. Paras Shah to please come on stage, to also please felicitate Shri S. Ramakrishna. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may I please invite Mihir Bhadkamkar to please come on stage to felicitate Shri Tej, Contractor, for that wonderful moderation. I think, can we also have a huge round of applause for that beautiful moderation of the session? Zordar taaliyan ho jaye. We need that energy because we still have 2 more interesting sessions. So let's bring that energy back in the air. Thank you. And now, if I could please request all the panelists to come together for a group photograph. All the speakers. Dr. Joshua, let's have you on stage, please. We just have one final group photograph left. Thank you once again.